All right. Welcome to the first live Toronto on Tilt episode with the boys. So this is just going to be kind of like an unscripted talk because that's basically what most of these podcasts are, but it's more of a kind of a conversation as people jump in. If you want to watch us, you can comment. We'll talk about what you're talking about Toronto stuff. Like I said, this is Toronto on Tilt. I'm Steve Artabello with Anthony Harris and Theo Giordano. You can find us at our website, which we really should start putting stuff on, which I promised to write stuff for.
It's been a year.
Should. Yeah.
I've been paying for the site for a year.
We should probably put like this video. We'll put other stuff on it, but you can find us at our website, torontoontilt.com. You can find us on our Twitter at Toronto on Tilt, where we post the links to this shit and also throw out everything else. You can find us now on Twitch, Toronto on Tilt. You can find the video of this is going to be on YouTube. It's live right now, and it will be posted to our YouTube. On top of that, you can find us where all of audio, all the places you get your audio podcasts. So that's Anchor, Breaker, Bleaker, and then the popular ones of SoundCloud. Well, not SoundCloud. It's on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's what I was trying to say when I was saying SoundCloud, but it's on those things. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. We're the Blue Jays podcast. We talked about NFL before and a bunch of gambling stuff, so that's the thing that we're going to be talking about. It's Toronto on Tilt, so we'll be talking about the Raptors, the Leafs. These are things that we watch. Like, I'm a big baseball guy. Baseball's my favorite thing. After that, basketball's probably my second favorite sport. Then there's like football, hockey, like it's all kind of mashed in there.
I didn't know that
about yeah, it was football. Basketball's kind of taken over the last few years, I think. And then obviously we're going to talk about your Canada soccer because me and Theo, big time Voyageurs over here. Oh yeah, Anthony Harris.
You need to know, Anthony loves hockey. It's all he cares
big
about.
Leafs guy.
Always
big Leafs guy.
There's always the Leafs.
Always a believer. Never gave up. Never gave up.
Never have, never will.
Now, as I say, never actually believed, so he can't really give it up. Theo, and specifically, so other than baseball, there's gonna be gambling. There's going to be UFC. What are the other things that you
UFC? I like me and Steve are huge Manchester United fans. I don't know how much we'll talk about that. UFC.
Finally NFL. Got fired.
I like everything.
Finally, all got fired. Finally.
Yeah, but all the coaches are still there.
We'll see.
It really means nothing.
We'll see. They won today in the Champions
League. But we're just kind of trying to make it whatever you guys want to get into. We know no one's watching right now, or not many people. But once we start to build, hopefully, we get more of what you guys want to talk about on here. Send your comments in. I can put them on the thing. We have one comment now. I can show them, take them off. I'm still learning how to do this too. I'm not a producer, and I'm just learning as we go. So hopefully it goes smoothly. Hopefully it's broadcasting. I really hope.
Yeah, that's ideally it actually is live. I see the thing that says we're live. The countdown tripped out, and I think we went live as it was going, but who knows? Yeah. So hopefully this is actually working. It's actually recording, and we'll be able to post this properly. Yeah. Ideally, hopefully. Tony, anything that you want to talk about specifically that'll be a little different that will be
just anything in general. I can talk about anything I want. I don't know about sports. I like sports. We all like sports. I don't know what else am I supposed to
go sports ball. I guess we'll start off with the Leafs. We'll get right into it. They traded for Kyle Clifford, which they don't have the cap room to do when someone's getting traded. I think it's probably going to be Hall. Might be one of the forwards like Engvall, although he might get waived because they're going to bring Mikheyev back. Something's going to have to happen cap-wise because they don't have the room when they all come back.
I got a question with the cap because, as we said, I'm not the biggest hockey guy. Mostly Steve's the big hockey guy. Me and Anthony are just we're casual Leaf fans. Is the cap as easily manipulated as it is in the NFL, where you can just operate at whatever you want? The Rams every year operate at a weird cap where
yes and no.
They're going to be in cap trouble, but they never are.
No, yes and no, because you can get into real cap trouble in the NHL because you can't just cut guys and waive guys. They're guaranteed contracts, so you have to trade assets to move bad contracts, and then if guys retire, there's this recapture thing. There's a whole bunch of weird, messed up, terrible rules in the NHL, and then there's also ways that you can completely circumvent the salary cap with long-term IR. The Leafs did it forever. Everyone gets angry at the Lightning because they did it with Nikita Kucherov, and the Leafs are kind of doing it again. Oh, I can also hear myself in the background of, I think, somebody right now. Tony, potentially?
Yeah, I had the stream on.
Oh, look at this guy.
I'm doing the background work here, see how things are flowing. And it's going well. There's a slight delay, obviously.
Yeah, because I could hear myself, so I was wondering what that was. And I was quite delayed, so I was wondering why it was that delayed. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
We have a 10-second buffer. So if you say something horrible, I can just end broadcast. And maybe it won't
No, then it'll just happen. It'll still get on there at the end. Yeah. Well, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, so you can manipulate it, but not like the NFL where you can find money. Like it's a lot harder to do, and you have to make trades. It's why, like the Tampa Bay Lightning had a real hard time getting rid of Tyler Johnson. Like they were trying to waive, like it was not easy for them. So there's things that can happen like that. So the Leafs are probably gonna have to do something when McCabe comes back, and when Mrazek comes back, and he's practicing, and he was only supposed to be out a month, so he's going to be back soon. So that'll be interesting. But they got Kyle Clifford. He's going to play, I think, because I don't think you call him up for no reason. But fourth line with Simmons and Spezza? I don't know.
Sure, that works.
He's a locker room guy. He fights.
The tough guy.
He's not the worst player on, like, he's not like a useless tough guy. Like he's not someone who's actually got complete stone hands. But the funny thing is, him and Mrazek are going to be on the same team. And the last time he was a Leaf, he went slamming into Peter Mrazek and broke him. So that's kind of funny. I want to see that on camera. I wish that behind the scene Leafs thing was still going and we could see that, because that'd be really funny.
Did you actually watch that?
No, I have to do it, but I didn't want to relive any of that. Honestly, there's nothing about last season that I want to relive. It was awful. It ended.
Were they trying to make it like a thing where it's like a positive and they're going to grow, or was it just like?
From what everyone says, it was. It sounded like all the problems that everyone saw with the team, Sheldon Keefe saw with the team, kept yelling at them that bad things were going to happen, and then bad things happened.
Yeah, but they're a bunch of fun guys, fun kids. You know, they had a good time.
Yeah,
that's kind of the whole premise.
I was gonna say I guess my kind of bigger thing on the Leafs is I liked kind of old school physical hockey. Then I got very into analytics because of baseball, and then I figured it would translate to hockey, so I got very behind what the Leafs were doing. And then last year kind of seemed like the perfect combination of grit and skill and everything, and it looked really good in the regular season, and it completely fell apart. And it was the same team in the playoffs, and they completely fell apart, and they choked. So I don't know what to believe anymore in hockey, and I'm very broken. So we'll talk about the Leafs, but I will be very upset about many, many things, and probably fly off the handle at many, many things.
My whole thinking, because every time I get a few drinks in me, I think it's Leafs year, and that happens. Like it's happening again now. Anytime I start thinking like they start winning, I start feeling good.
I have no idea. When you said my thinking, it froze completely. So okay. Right when you started talking, it froze. I didn't hear any of that.
I'm just saying that I can easily buy into Leafs here anytime, because the way I look at hockey is it's like they had that article where it said hockey playoff series. If you wanted the definite result of the best team going through, you need to play 51 games so that you actually have the best team every time going through in these series.
It's also this is going to sound like a loser Toronto thing to say, but the game is completely different in the playoffs. They don't call the rule book. Like you get away with murder in the playoffs. It's just the facts. And that's, I think, why you see so many upsets of high-skilled teams get, like, when Tampa Bay, who ended up winning the Stanley Cup, like when they got swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets that year. Like those things can happen in the NHL when a team like Columbus, who plays really shutdown hockey, gets a goalie that gets really hot, and then you just beat the hell out of a much better team because they're not going to call any penalties, so they're not going to get their awesome offense on the power play to wreck you.
Is that all it is, though? Like, do you really think?
Not all it is. There's also the fact that this team chokes, like gives up. Like let's see if we can throw this on the thing. There's a Mitch Marner thing on if I can find it properly. Oh, there it is. That's like an autographed Mitch Marner thing I won at a stag. But what happened with him in the playoffs is it's basically unforgivable. So like, I love the guy, but after that, there's a lot of hate after the contract negotiation, the holdout, the way that played out in the media. And then to watch him choke in the playoffs so badly, like the glass over the puck over the glass penalty is just, that's burnt into my brain forever, into the terrible things that could possibly happen. That, oh God, so many bad Leaf memories. But that's there. I guess on the positive, Joe Swall got a shutout. He was very shaky in the Buffalo game, looked a lot better, but who knows what he is? He's a fine third goalie. He's better than Hutchison. Although Hutch also got a shutout against the Islanders last year in a 3-0 win, which is weird.
They always beat the...
They didn't when they first got John Tavares. Now they do. I don't get it. The hockey's weird. Yeah. But yeah, Wolves, interesting. Nick Ritchie's had a hell of a an unlucky start to the season, but played his best game on that third line. Kasha and Kampf, 2 free agent signings, look really good on the third line together. Ritchie looked good with them. Specifically, so Kampf is supposed to be a third line defensive center. That's what he does. He had 1 goal last year. He's got 3 this year, maybe 4 actually now. I think he might have 4. But he's just supposed to be there to kind of play defense and kind of be a punt guy, but he's been better than that. And it's been lucky. There's been a lot of bounces. His goals haven't exactly been beautiful, but Kasha's the guy who was really interesting because 2 to 3 years ago, he scored 20 goals with the Ducks. He was a 7th round pick that turned into a real prospect. And then he kept getting hurt. And you can see why he keeps getting hurt, because he has no regard for himself or anyone on the ice when he skates. He smashes into everything. The goalie, the end boards. He just skates with no regard for human life. And you love him, but you want to wrap him in bubble wrap until the playoffs. So that line's been really fun. That's been interesting. I don't know. The only other thing I guess really is Mitch is starting to come around, and Matthews doesn't fully look right yet, and the team has gone on this insane year.
Yeah, well, they've been a regular season team, right? They've been very good in the regular season, and then things have not worked out in the playoffs. So we just have to see if things are different this year.
I don't know if we talked about. I don't think we mentioned it yet, but Theo, we were talking about it before this. And it's like you were saying that there was an analytics thing about the Leafs and how it's the same team, and it's like, yeah, this looks like the exact same team.
All these analytics things are like breaking down the Leafs, and it's like all these hardcore stats. Like, well, we've come to the conclusion this is the exact same team, and we know how this team was doing before. So,
well, they had the slow start when the core 4 wasn't scoring, and then it's funny, the core 4 go on that insane point streak where they're responsible for all the points, and hey, what happens? They win all of the games. I mean, that's what happens when you pay 4 guys that much money. I'm sorry. When they start going, then that happens. There's a reason all of the models constantly, it's like they're right there. It's like Colorado, Tampa Bay, the Leafs. Actually, now that Tampa Bay lost their third line, most of the projections are like Colorado is way and away the best team in the league, and then the Toronto Maple Leafs is right after. So this is going to be a long season of ups and downs. They're going to probably make the playoffs. They're probably going to do really well in the regular season. And it's going to be super stressful.
Well, we're going to get our wish, because every Leaf fan for all these years we played Boston is saying, what if we just had like a Tampa? They play so similar. Or we might get that this year.
And
we might not want that.
Who knows what the hell's going to happen? Who knows? Do you guys want to go into any more Leaf stuff before we move to the Raptors?
Are there any NHL things you want to talk about in general?
Well, I mean, there's the Kyle Beach thing, but like that's a whole podcast on its own.
Well, that's old. It's not old news now. I don't want to diminish it.
There's a lot of other things going on. Like there's a sexual assault thing with the Penguins, and there's like there's actually a bunch more shit happening. There's Bob Murray from the Ducks who had to step down, and he's now in an alcohol treatment thing because he apparently didn't treat people the best, and there's still investigations. There's a lot of bad things happening.
I heard he had to step down, but I didn't know
and then he immediately going into an alcohol treatment thing. So there's
alcohol treatment and then find Jesus, and then everyone will.
That's always the move. I feel like that's the move, because we're gonna find out things that he did, and he's gonna be like, well, it wasn't me, it was the alcohol. I think that's what's gonna happen.
And the Ducks are good again.
Well, it's because the kids are finally doing well. You have Troy Terry, who is a 5th round pick, who's on the insane contract. Zegras, who's the top. Like, you have a bunch of guys. Sam Steele, well, he's not doing as much as he everyone kind of thought he would be. That's another young, talented guy that they have. They have a lot of guys, and then Ryan Getzlaf is just a consistent. You can't stop him. Yeah. The old man can't stop. Finally, he got 1,000 point this last week. I think it was last week. Got 1,000 points. So they're interesting. I'm trying to think about around the league. Anything super? Connor McDavid keeps scoring ridiculous goals. Sidney Crosby's back and scoring ridiculous goals. The Penguins are surviving. That's the only loss the Leafs have, and like they don't have anyone, and they keep winning, and then they come back and they keep it. The Penguins are ridiculous. They're probably
Habs are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, but that was gonna happen. They weren't good when they beat the Leafs. They weren't good when they made the Stanley Cup final. They weren't good, and they lost their 2 best players.
Well, doesn't that just tell you everything you need to know?
That's what I was trying to get across there.
Exactly.
Like, there's so much luck involved.
Exactly. And Philip Deneau, he's great in the playoffs. And then, he's on LA now. That was a weird signing by LA to give all that money to a guy who should have gone to a playoff team. But anyways, who knows? Wow. Oh, shit. Tony getting shouted out.
I think that's the truth, right? We can all agree.
Tony's got a great mo, though, for Movember.
Thank you.
You got to make the handlebars, though. That's what you should have done.
Yeah, like turn
Although
it up,
the handlebars, like grow them down. But yeah, you should definitely get some wax and twist it now.
Yeah.
Now that that's an option.
Well, we've got a couple. Well, I mean, it was only like a week left until it's got to go. So.
You just got to keep rocking it.
How much money are you donating, Anthony?
I don't want to make other people feel bad, so I don't want to say. Even my dad's doing it now.
Wow.
There's the 2 of us.
Oh snap! Look at the Harris family out here as a unit.
The Harrises care about men's health
as a unit. But yeah, so I guess just to throw it out there, the Leafs are going to play the LA West Kings Coast tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see, because these are bad teams, and we know how the Leafs generally play against bad teams. Although the Kings have been kind of good, which has been strange. Then they play San Jose, the Ducks, which have been good because they're young and interesting. The West Coast trip. We'll see if they can keep it going. I think they're in the last 10 games, they're like 9-1. That one loss to the Penguins being the loss. But the Raptors. So I, at the beginning of the season, looked at this Raptors team, and I'm like, okay, they're probably going to be something like a 6, 7, 8 team. They're going to make the playoffs, but they'll be like a 6, 7, 8 team. They're going to struggle without Pascal. But we'll see. We'll see who can grow. First things first, actually, I want to say that I was very much a Jalen Suggs person, but what I said was, okay, we'll see with Scotty Barnes. I trust Masai, but we'll see. Masai was very right. I know Scotty's struggling a little bit now. Yeah, exactly. I know Scotty's struggling in the last couple of games, but like you could tell immediately, you're like, oh.
No, but the stuff he's struggling with is stuff we knew he was going to be
struggling exactly. With. The fact that he showed that he had more in his offensive bag early on anyways than people thought is incredibly impressive.
Because I think before that Cleveland game, everyone's expectations got way too high, including myself. If we did a show after our 6-3 start, I would have had some takes that would have been way wrong already.
Well, I still think they could be a top 4 team in the East once everyone's back and together.
Year, I wouldn't say this year.
You know why I don't think so? It's because it's defensively, it's starting to look like the stuff I thought we'd be good at no matter what. It's kind of falling apart the last few games, especially.
Well, that's what happens when you don't have OG, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA.
But even when he was in it still wasn't like.
But I think when everyone's healthy and you have everyone back and you have everyone back together, worked into the team, this is a ridiculous defensive team. The way Gary Trent Jr. is playing, Fred VanVleet is always really good defensively. OG Anunoby is like a top 5 defender in the NBA, and I don't think that's a stretch. Pascal Siakam's really good defensively. Kem Birch is good defensively. Precious is good defensively. I'll talk about Precious in a second. He's frustrating.
Couple good games.
Okay, I guess I'll talk about Precious right now. Precious is a Raptor. Precious is very much a Raptor because you see flashes of a lot of different things. Like you see a lot of different talent things that he had, like the way he can run up the floor, the way he grabs rebounds, the way he plays defense, the way he can make a pass at times. And then you see him do really head-scratching things like I've never seen anyone miss so many around the rim layup, touches, flips, alley-oops. I've never seen so many miss as many as Precious. But you see the flashes of talent, and it's like, okay, this is a guy that's the perfect Raptor because they'll eventually turn this into something. They'll mold this into something. It's going to take time. Like, he's very much going to take time. So that's why you have Boucher and Khem Birch. They're guys that can play right now consistently, and you can rely on them. Boucher, I think once he's starting to get healthy again, he's starting to play better. So,
yeah. Well, like looking at like a game like the Warriors game, that kind of just, I know they were missing OG, but that kind of just tells you where like they're not at that time close to that.
No, but I think if you have OG, you have Gary. If you have them all healthy, I think it's more of a problem because then you can just tell OG to guard Steph, and then Steph is Steph, and he's still going to score. Like, he's going to get his points. Steph's going to get his, but OG can make it difficult because he's so big and so fast, and then you can't have someone like Wiggins go apeshit if you have Gary Trent Jr. and Pascal Siakam healthy.
Yeah,
right. You have more guys that can completely lock guys down. I think that's what happens when the whole team's healthy and together. I think that's the difference. The big improvement that Gary Trent Jr. has shown, the fact that, like, we know Scotty Barnes can play defense and can defend all of these. So,
yeah, that's been Gary Trent. I like Gary Trent when we got him, and I knew he was kind of a streaky guy, but he started this year off so well from a scoring perspective, where it was so often we'd see him just chuck up a bunch and shoot really badly, kind of like last game, where he missed most of his shots. And
with Gary Trent Jr., you're gonna have to live with that. Like, he's not really, like, the ball sticks with him, but it also seems like they told him as long as you are active defensively and you go all out on the defensive side, you can chuck up as many shots as you want. Me and Theo, I think, talked about this. It almost looks like that's the conversation that was had with him because that's the way he's playing. So he's giving you everything defensively as long as he gets to fire. Just gets to fire it on offense. And the fact that he's a good catch and shoot guy, that's another thing. Once everyone's healthy and you have Fred and OG, like, the steps that OG is taking are really the most interesting thing. Like, that's if he's the secondary scorer fully healthy and Pascal's the primary scorer fully healthy and Fred's running the offense, but you can also, the ball doesn't stick with OG. He can move it a little bit better now. He can also ISO score on people. You have so many weird mismatches defensively. You have so many weird mismatches offensively. You can body guys. There's more shooting than there's been. That's why I really like this Raptors team. It's going to take a while because this is what happens with a super high ceiling young team. What I would like to point to is the Grizzlies last year. Remember when they got really hot at the end of the season because all of those young guys, Jaren Jackson Jr., Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, who's a little bit older, but like look at the way the Raptors are with their 22 to 25 to 26 to 27. You were like all through the age range. That looks a lot like that Memphis team that when they finally all were playing together, they got insanely hot and looked really good. They don't have Ja Morant. Scotty Barnes is really good. And so's OG and Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet. Like, that's why I'm really excited about this Raptors season. I'm like insanely excited about this Raptors season, even though they're struggling right now, even though they haven't put everything together. It's the potential there. It's the fact that they're young and like there's so much talent and there's so much just guys with the ability to do so many different things. And again, once everyone gets healthy, I think the minutes are gonna break out more. Like, Svi Mihalik is great. He's interesting, but he really shouldn't be playing 15 to 18 minutes a game. He's a guy that should be playing, in case of injury, that amount of time, but he really should be playing like 2 to 3 minutes a game. And they still have the problem of, like, they got to get rid of Goran Dragic somehow.
Yeah, I don't know what's the plan there. Like, are they just kind of waiting to see what offers they have and ship them off?
Well, when they brought him in, the whole thing was Dallas is really the only team that's interested in him or that was interested in him. I don't know what's going on now. And the only reason of that is because of Luka. If you don't know who Luka Doncic is, he's like he might be the best player in the NBA. And I think Tony knows this. You guys know how much. Okay, I would also like to point out right now, which is going to sound stupid because people don't know how much I've loved Luka since he played in Spain. Okay,
you're biased.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm super biased with Luka because I thought he was
very unbiased.
Yes, no, Giannis is better than Luka.
Yeah.
You can't even argue.
I don't know about that.
No, I don't.
You don't know about
that. Right now, I would take Luka over.
Why?
Giannis.
I didn't think we were getting this take.
But why?
Are you serious?
I love Giannis. Giannis is very close there. I just like Luka's so good. Luka's so good, and he's not as physically dominant as Giannis, and he can still get you like a 20 rebound, 17 assist game and score 40 points. It's just like the shooting potential with Luka. Like every time he steps on the floor, so like him and Giannis, every time they both step on the floor, it's a triple double. They both score, but the fact that Luka shoots so well I love it so much.
By the way, we'll be having a Raptors guest, super insider, coming up in a few minutes.
Is he coming on?
Who will
that's what I've been doing
on this.
I haven't been listening the last 10 minutes because I've been working on a big time guest. So if you're still here, you better stay because it's only going to get better.
What you've seen so far has just been a mediocre version. Like when Andrew shows up, when our secret guest shows up.
Way to go, Tony. Now because we're going to talk Raptors when he comes on. We should probably get into some other shit.
I guess the side note I wanted to talk about the Blue Jays before we go back to the Raptors, especially because I want to talk about Delano, like a lot. I love him so much. That's interesting. Back to the Blue Jays temporarily, just because we did a whole podcast on it, but I did want to mention because we were talking always how it's like, oh, you're going to have issues with signing people to come to Canada. And then it was, well, you're going to have issues signing pitchers because it's the AL East and pitchers just don't want to pitch here. Jose Barrios, in his media availability after signing his contract, basically said he was very excited. Now, again, it's the media availability telling the team he's going to be here for the next 7 years. He's not going to tell them that they twisted his arm. But he essentially said he was really looking forward to free agency. He wanted to go through the process. Like him and his family were looking forward to it. And then he got to Toronto. He met this group. And then he got in the Rogers Center when they were in the race and it was loud and he liked the fans and he liked the atmosphere and he liked the team and he liked the direction of the team. And he signed here. And we talked about it for what we believe is under market value. That's kind of huge. Not kind of. That is massive. You overpaid for Ryu. You overpaid for Springer. And you got you got Barrios to take what we think is a discount to stay on this team. Tony, I think that's important to mention.
I already told Steve this before, but I want to tell Tony, remember that take I had at the Jays game when I was a little too excited and I said that this atmosphere is top 5 experience in baseball, being at the Rogers Center when the team's good. I mean, maybe not that good, but it's up there. Like, this is a great baseball town. They care enough.
That's just a benefit with trading for someone like that. Like, when you have an extra year afterwards, when you have them on your team before free agency and you can tell them, like, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and this is our fan base, all this stuff. Like, you're making a pitch, right?
Yep.
And the Blue Jays pitch was awesome. And he couldn't pass it up. He turned down a lot of money, potentially, next year just to be a part of this. And I don't see why other free agents wouldn't want to be a part of this team. Like they have everything going for them.
I'm so excited with what's about to happen. Like, oh my god, like the fact that it's like, oh yeah, they're talking to Gausman, they're still talking to Robbie Ray, they're talking to Marcus Semien, they're talking to everyone important. It's very exciting.
We're still waying for the top guys to sign. I don't even know what's going to happen. Honestly, I think.
Although Aaron Loop is out here getting a 2-year, $17 million deal because the Mets know what they're doing.
No, the Angels signed him.
The Angels? I thought it was the Mets.
No, the Mets let him go. He was on the Mets.
Oh.
That was the Angels' first multi-year deal on a pitcher since Joe Blanton, like 7 years ago.
That didn't turn out either.
So they broke that streak.
That didn't work out either.
I mean, Aaron Luke, like ever since he left the Jays, he's been a lot better.
Yes.
I don't know why, but,
he doesn't hit he doesn't immediately hit the lefty batter that he's brought in to face in left on left.
Mets fans were very disappointed when he left. And I was surprised because I thought Aaron Loops or whatever, but he's like, they love him in New York, and it's another guy they lost. So.
It's still a wild contract to me to see Aaron.
It is a wild contract.
Yeah, paying a reliever,
Well, imagine what Kenley's going to get.
And that's why I don't want them to sign Kenley Jensen. Well, it's part of the reason.
The Jays won't do it.
You can bring him in. Go back to the Raps.
No, you'll see him pop up on the bottom. He's not in yet. He's got to take care of Samopoulos right now, but he'll be on.
Why don't we talk about the All MLB team that was just revealed? you want to talk about that.
Why do we never know when this stuff gets announced?
Because the baseball's the worst. The worst of this shit. Like the Silver Slugger and the Gold Gloves come out and they just randomly come out. Like they're bad. They're really bad at announcing all this shit.
I just got.
They're the worst.
Alert. Tony, you want to read through it?
Okay, first team. There are. Do you want me to
read the AL because we'll go for the Jays.
So there's 3 Blue Jays on it. We got Salvador as the catcher, Vlad at first, Semien at second, Austin Riley at third base.
That's the AL.
That's all. There is no AL. It's just Major League.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of wow. Riley over Jose Ramirez. Okay, interesting.
Well, Riley had that insane end of the season, and the Braves just won the World Series, and they can't put Freddie Freeman on it because of Vlad. So
yeah, that's fair enough.
And Acuna got hurt, so that's why Riley's out there.
You got Tatis at short, Soto, Harper, Judge in the outfield, and
Ohtani. Even though Tatis was in right field by the end of the season, but yes.
Yeah, they got to get Tatis in there.
No, that's exactly like you can tell how they did it. You're just like, oh, okay, I see how you did it. You did it to make sure that like he's eligible there, so that's the position that we'll give him. She said 3. So wait, 3 Blue Jays? So Teoscar, Teoscar, Vladdy.
Ray the pitcher.
Oh, Ray's the pitcher. Okay.
That's
damn.
No Teal.
No, that makes sense considering the outfielders they had out there.
The tough outfield group.
Exactly. When it's both the AL and the NL, that's kind of ridiculous considering Teo played right and Bryce Harper won the MVP in the NL.
I don't think they did left, center, right. I think it's
because Juan Soto also plays right field this year. So that's what I mean. Juan Soto, Bryce Harper. Who was the other one? What was it?
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge, yeah. And Judge was ridiculous this season. Makes sense to me. I like it.
Yeah. Good to see 2 Blue Jays on there. There's no one else with more than.
I kept saying it all season. I'm like, Marcus Semien is the best second baseman in baseball. He's the best second baseman in baseball. And apparently, baseball agrees with me.
Well, I don't think who could you have really made a case for, like, to beat him? Like, it was so clear this year. Ozzie Albies?
Nope.
He was very good.
He was good, but he's not as good.
But not this good.
Yeah.
Defensively, they were on par, but I'd say if Semien had
and they both got off to pretty cold starts, season. But.
Yeah, you want me to go through the pitchers?
Sure.
They got Walker Buehler, Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole, Robbie Ray, Scherzer were the starters, and then 2 relievers, Hader and Hendricks.
Yeah, no surprise there. I can't believe Corbin Burns won
the
Cy Young.
Wheeler didn't make it.
Yeah, I can't believe Corbin Burns won the Cy Young. He was ridiculous, but the lack of innings was...
Yeah, it's disrespectful.
What was his preseason odds? Must be crazy, right?
It was like 4,000 plus 4,000.
Yeah, 40 to 1.
Before he got hurt and missed some time, he was looking like. Then his odds got super short because that was when he also didn't allow a walk in. God, it was
like
some ungodly. I was about to say it was like some ungodly amount of starts where he didn't allow a walk, and it would be like 10 strikeouts, no walks, 15 strikeouts, no walks, 11 strikeouts, no walks. It was just 99-mile-an-hour cutter, 100-mile-an-hour cutter. Like it's just.
Didn't he have that game against Minnesota? Did I just freeze?
Corbin Burns or frozen
Steve,
again?
You froze. I didn't freeze that time.
Wait, what game against Minnesota? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I was saying, did Steve just leg out?
I don't know. I think he's trying to fix it.
I don't know what happened there. But I was gonna say we were talking about Corbin Burns. Do you remember that game this year? Was it this year where he had that like no hitter with that other Minnesota pitcher, and they went back and forth?
It was like Barrios, wasn't it?
That was Barrios, right? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
That was like the second day of the year. Yeah, Burns was he had an amazing year, but he threw like 40 fewer innings than what's it called? Than Wheeler. And at the end of the day, you want a pitcher. You don't want a guy. I know the Brewers are built differently because of their bullpen, but like to have a guy give you 8 innings every night is way more valuable than a guy like Burns who lights out for 6.
Well, he was also going deep. He missed games because of injury. Like he missed starts, which you have to take into consideration. I think, and I'm the analytics guy. Like I am the guy that is the analytics guy. But when someone like the discrepancy with Wheeler was what, like 50 innings?
Yeah, it was a huge gap.
Right, and you're super close in all these other stats. Even Scherzer like was hurt, so I was like, "Oh, that's going to hurt Scherzer," but Scherzer might be the Cy Young. Like, I don't know. Walker Buehler is another guy you can point to. But like Buehler was another dude you can point to.
Yeah.
But again,
a lot of good pitchers. But I mean, I don't know. That he was like second in Cy Young voting and he didn't even make the first team. That's weird. I don't get that. No respect to
you care a lot about this list. That I usually don't.
I usually don't even think of who the snubs could potentially be on like any All NBA or whatever. Like I usually don't even think about it. But I'm just like, well, why isn't the runner-up for Cy Young among the top 5 starting pitchers?
Depends who votes on this list.
They put Garrett Cole above him.
Depends who votes on this list.
Yeah, well, you got to get the Yankee in there.
No, but that's what if it's writers, if it's players, if it's fans, like that can also very much color what the list looks like.
We have to find out.
Send a letter to someone, Anthony.
I doubt it's a fan vote.
They didn't ask me.
No, whatever.
We should probably just move back to the Raptors and whenever he pops on.
This guy.
You know what I mean?
Getting stood up right now.
No, exactly. So we should just finish off the Raptors talk, which is kind of disjointed going back to it, but we'll go back to it. Again, super excited.
He responded, by the way.
We have a private chat, by the way, Anthony. You can just say that in there, so you don't have to interrupt Steve. You see that private chat on the right?
Well, I thought it was a more immediate concern. I'm sorry.
I can open it up on the phone, but no, I can't. I can't really see it on here. Yeah, I don't know. There is one, but I can't see it. I guess I don't know.
No, yeah, there's a chat and
a private chat. There's comments and a private chat, but
yeah. So go to private chat and then we can talk. If something happens behind the scenes, you can just do that instead of looking unprofessional like we're doing right now.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess the other thing I want to really bring up. We already talked about Precious and how kind of frustrating that is, and again the injuries and how good Scotty looks. To have Delano Banton look this good, for your second round pick to look this good, is ridiculous. And even he thought he was going to the 905. I'm pretty sure everyone was like, "Oh yeah, he'll be interesting." Kid from Rexdale, super cool story. Yeah, he'll play at the 905 most of the time. He'll be one of those guys that gets sent down, and he'll probably dominate with the 905, and hopefully he can do that for a couple of years because the Raptors have had a lot of guys win 905 MVP. Like Pascal Siakam did it. Chris Boucher did it. They also had, I think it was Paul Watson Jr. did it. No, not Paul Watson Jr. He was good. I don't think he won G League MVP. They had another guy do it. Another point guard who it was like Paul Watson. It was one of those guys. Anyways, like they've had a bunch of guys win G League MVP. So I was kind of like, okay, Delano's really interesting. Not really much of a shot. Big guard. Like I know he was listed as a small forward, but they're basically using him as a point guard. Although he can guard all these different positions because he's 6'7", 6'8".
Yeah.
His first made shot is that like half court three. He's been hitting three. Like I don't know. This is phenomenal. It's all found money, and it's super cool because he's Canadian, but it's also just like organizationally, like this is useful.
And the way he started was just like so perfect because I remember me and Anthony and Andrew, the guy who's coming on, the special guest, we were talking in a group chat.
If he comes on.
Yeah. We were talking about the first game of the season. We're watching. It was the worst game ever. And we're like, where's Banton? Like, why didn't he just play in the whole second half? And they brought him in right after that. And just he had that just electric spark. And the fact that you get anything from this guy is so crazy, especially what happened with our draft last year.
It's the way he affects the game every time he's in the game because he grabs the ball because he'll get the rebound and run, or someone will give it to him and run. And it's just, it is wild to me that this continues to work this well because at some point they're going to stop it and they're going to make him shoot more. But in limited minutes, this is something you can do, especially against another team's bench. So the fact that he's recognized it, the fact that it's working, the fact that they keep leaning on it, the fact that it's not going away anytime soon either, which is really awesome. It's just great. It's found money, and it's also super cool that he's from here. Like when the 45 Rexdale bus, which is the reason he wears 45, had happy birthday Delano on it on his birthday. 2 weeks ago. Like, that's pretty fucking cool too. I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice story. Well, it just goes like the Raptors with wings. When they draft wings in the draft, it's a hit every time, except for last year with
Malachi and Jalen. What was
Jalen Harris?
Jalen Harris, who's still on the restricted list for drugs, which is something wild to get on the restricted list for.
Well, who knows? Maybe he would have turned out awesome too.
Yeah, that's
it was funny. He called up at the end of the year and he was hitting all of those threes. It was like, well, maybe he doesn't play defense, but he hits a lot of threes. So that's a useful end of the bench player. And then, now he's just, we'll see what happens with him. Malachi actually hasn't looked bad in the 15 total minutes he's played.
Yeah, it starts slow when he comes on, but he feels his way into the game, and he's not getting enough minutes to kind of feel his way in. So
I'm surprised he hasn't just gone to the 905. I almost wondered too, because there's all the talk about him and his dad and like him not liking his role, where he's almost refuses to go to the 905. But that's pretty much where he should go because he would dominate.
We got to introduce someone now, though.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of Raptors 905, this is the number one insider for Raptors talk. There's no one better. You can get your Michael Grange, whatever. This is who we have as a Raptors insider. He will be coming
Toronto until insider. Yeah, Toronto until Raptors insider.
Whenever we talk Raptors, whenever we need an expert opinion, we'll bring this guy on. Welcome on, Andrew Clark.
What's up, guys?
Andrew with a C. I love it.
It was Andrew with an E.
Yeah. I was going to say, I thought it was Andrew with an E, but whatever. The inside joke continues, and I love it.
Yeah.
What's up, dude? Long time no see.
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a long time.
I can't hide my excitement.
We're live, by the way, just so you know. Don't say anything personal.
I
Don't say anything personal.
There's a lot of people watching.
Oh, yes, exactly. Tony's girlfriend.
Like hundreds.
Like Tony's girlfriend. Exactly.
No
like one person. She's probably actually not watching anymore. She watched earlier and then was just like, yeah, I'm out.
Well, I hope she's still watching. This is the best part.
Our view count went down very quickly in the beginning after she commented, so I figured that was her just leaving the chat. But anyways, Andrew, we're talking Raptors and early season thoughts. What's your takes away so far this season?
So immediately my mind goes to that Precious can't catch and can't finish.
No, he can't.
I was looking at some stats earlier, because like one of these guys that I listen to in the mornings, he was talking about how he has like one of the lowest like finishing like stats out of like any center in the league. Because he plays center, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
No, that's where he's like. I guess they'll have him randomly in power forward, but I don't know if, especially when he plays with Boucher, I think the only way I see him being a power forward is with Kem Birch. That's the only way. Together. That's exactly. And I was trying to think of a reason that they would play together, and there is none. There really is none.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tony's girlfriend is still here, so we still have one viewer.
Yeah,
I had to double check.
You have more fans than me, man. My issue is the fact that these guys are just so inconsistent offensively, and so when the defense fluctuates, which defense fluctuates in the NBA, it's like 82 games.
Yep.
It's like they can't do anything, and I'm just staring at the screen waiting for the score to go up, and we're stuck at like 45 or something.
Well, they need to be healthy. Like they're a deep team in terms of interesting players, but they're a deep team when everyone's healthy and you have a bunch of different options, because they don't have an alpha. That's been the problem with the teams since Twilight, right? Like they don't have an alpha. So the problem is what you hope is when you have Pascal fully going, OG, Fred, and then you get like essentially you're hoping that one of them any given night is going to score 30 plus. And then when they don't, you know that maybe Scotty can pop for that. Maybe Chris Boucher can have one of those crazy games where he plays like 23 minutes, but scores 30 points because he hits like 7 threes. And those do happen with Chris Boucher.
Yeah.
And, like that's the way this team's built. So when one of the, essentially when you don't have Pascal, OG, or Fred, they're fucked. Like unless you're playing one of the worst teams in the NBA, like when you're playing Cleveland, you can just stomp them. It's fine.
We lost to Cleveland.
No, I know, but I'm talking you know what I mean? Like especially now that they don't have Colin Sexton, who just like how many options they have. And Mobley's hurt. I love Evan Mobley so much.
Cleveland's pretty good.
I love Evan Mobley so much.
Yeah, this year yeah. I think we all wanted Mobley.
Right? Evan Mobley in any other draft is number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Like Cade Cunningham, like as much. Here's the thing: I love Scotty, and I think Scotty has he's got a ridiculous ceiling. But Cade Cunningham is like a 6'7" point guard who can shoot from anywhere. You saw when he put OG in a blender, and right, and OG's a top 5 defender in the NBA, and he did that to OG in his rookie year, coming off an ankle injury.
Yeah.
Cade Cunningham could be special. I don't know because it's the Pistons; they'll probably ruin him. That's probably what's going to happen with Evan Mobley too, because he's in Cleveland. Cleveland without LeBron is so bad.
Cleveland is running
with LeBron is bad.
Cleveland's running the biggest lineup in the NBA right now, right?
They're what? I didn't.
They're running like the biggest lineup in the NBA.
When Mobley's starting because they have Allen too. Exactly. They have 3 7-footers, and I know a couple
and
of them
comes off the bench, right? Is that?
Yeah. Well, Love's toast. Let's be honest. I love Kevin Love. I used to love fat Kevin Love too, but like Kevin Love's toast.
Markkanen's having like his best year.
Yeah, because he's finally the center. Like he's one of the central offensive focuses, which he should have. I don't know why the Bulls drafted him and didn't do that. Anyways, the Bulls old management was dumb.
There were a lot of issues on both sides.
Garpax, terrible.
Yeah,
so bad.
What are the Rockets doing with John Wall? Because I haven't been watching. Because I haven't watched
$4 million to sit.
He's not playing. They're trying to find a trade. No one wants his salary, so they can't find a trade. So he's still not playing. So nothing is happening. So John Wall's approach. No, they're trying to force Ben Simmons somewhere. John Wall is literally the club is fine with it, and he's cool with it. Where John Wall is just going to the club, and that's it. And he's in Houston. John Wall is definitely living. John Wall is getting like $44 million this year to not go to work in Houston. There are a lot worse places to get $44 million to not go to work than Houston.
No, they're 1-16. Like they might have the worst record ever. That's where they're going.
Look at the team though.
Yeah,
what do they have? Jalen Green's interesting, sure, but he's not ready.
No, Kevin Porter Jr. He's having an awful season, and then Christian Wood's having a bad year too.
And he's the only one that you would be able to rely on consistently, and you can't because you could just keep him out of the paint. It's pretty much he's the only thing that they have.
They've lost 15 in a row.
And Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green are both get their own type of guy, like guards that like want the ball in their hand and are looking for their own shot, and they're looking to drive too. They're not looking to play a pick and roll.
No.
John Wall is also not a huge pick and roll guy, but would be way better for Wood just because he would open it up a little bit more. But they don't have enough shooting. They're a mess. Like honestly, the Rockets are a mess. They're just a mess.
So they're not caring right now. They're like OKC right now, except
basically.
Yeah.
Except they have worse contracts and not as many
they
draft
don't
picks.
have picks. Yeah.
They traded so many for Russell Westbrook, which I still don't like. And then they got a bunch for Russell. Like it just, I don't understand.
I don't think they got any picks for Russell. I think they might have got one pick for Westbrook. They just swapped him for Wall. I think they might have got a first pick.
I think they got a first round pick. And then, that was right. And then the Lakers gave up picks to the Warriors, which was hilarious. Or not the Warriors, the Wizards.
And that trade has completely turned the Wizards into a good team.
The Wizards, like that looks like the Rudy Gay trade for the Wizards, where they just got a whole bunch of pieces.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
They got a whole bunch of pieces, and they got a guy who was ball dominant off the team. They were actually good when Westbrook was healthy at the end of that season. Yeah, they went on that insane winning streak. But I don't know why anyone thought Russ would work with the Lakers, but that's a whole different story. It's just too many ball dominant. It's just way too many ball dominant guys. And the fact that him and Rondo play at the same time is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
The Lakers are so shit.
His turnover numbers are so funny every day. If you just look at the box score, how many double-digit turnover games?
The most. Him and James Harden.
Steve froze.
Well, he's got 5 turnovers at halftime today.
The first year. Oh, I'm back. It was
they're down by 12.
Yeah. I was going to say that Well, no, the first year that Westbrook like averaged a triple double, won the MVP. Remember, James Harden was also like number 2, like his top. Both of them destroyed the turnover record that season. Like when I say destroyed it, like I think both of them passed it by 100 turnovers.
Yeah.
Now, some of that is the fact that the NBA plays at like a way faster pace, so there's more possession, so there's going to be more turnovers. It's also why you see higher assist numbers. That's why you have like the ridiculous assist numbers that you see. But at the same time, it doesn't account for all of like to blow past it by that amount. It just doesn't. It's just the fact that those guys turn the ball over all the time.
Well, and the bigger issue is he's making $44 million. So there are good things about him, which kind of get drowned out because of these problems.
Yeah.
And the salary is just a killer. Like you're not going to win with that guy making that much money.
And to have him and LeBron, who both need the ball in their hands, pace pretty much all of the time that they're on the court. I don't understand why they ever thought that was going to work.
See, I thought it would be like
it's a worse Isaiah Thomas situation. Well, it's a better Isaiah Thomas situation. I don't know. It's the Isaiah Thomas situation.
Like I thought it would be they'd be more stagnated, where it would be 1 on, 1 off, and then that would kind of balance things out. But that's not how they've been doing.
But that's like you can't do that because LeBron's like when he's healthy, he's got to play 35 plus minutes, and so does Westbrook for all that money. And Anthony Davis still needs to get his, and like there's not enough shoot. Like Melo is way too useful for that team. This is a whole different story. Like I guess it's not really a Lakers podcast, but like Melo is way too important to that team in terms of his shooting. Yeah. Like he's way too important for someone his age to have to take on the role that he's actually taken on. And the fact that you've gotten the start out of Melo you have, and the Lakers aren't good, is genuinely hilarious to me.
Well, Melo's the one who wants that ring. That's what he's doing.
Yes, also makes sense.
We didn't talk about that fight, the Isaiah Stewart situation. Andrew,
oh my God, we didn't
Andrew,
even.
What's your take on that?
Okay, so for me, I'm thinking for this guy Stewart, I hope he can keep his job.
Yeah,
because the NBA hasn't been kind to players who go at I guess face of the league players.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, throughout their history, they're not kind to them. You don't go after Curry, you don't go after Durant, you don't go after a LeBron. Like these are the guys that you don't like get at. And I know he's all bloody and shit, and he's all like full of adrenaline, but
he's so lucky he didn't get to anyone. You know what I mean? As angry as he was, he's so lucky. He's so lucky.
Award for that.
Exactly. He's so lucky those guys held him and kept him away.
Where was he running in the locker room? Like he ran, like pushed people into the locker room. Like where was he going?
He was trying to go around to the other side. The way the arenas, they're like a circle.
Oh
so
yeah.
I guess he was gonna try and go around to the
and then pop
side.
out. Yeah, because he could pop out the other one.
Do you know how funny that visual would have been? See him disappear and then pop up the other side.
Like everyone would start playing again because they're like, all right, problem solved. And then
No, because LeBron got thrown out too. Because he got the flagrant too, so he would have been going to the locker room and he would have met him in one of those hallways.
No cameras.
Yeah. Like that's
selfie videos, yeah.
Right? Like that's what would have happened.
But you know how scared LeBron was? He was trying to apologize to him like
because LeBron deserves if it's not LeBron, if it's not LeBron that does that, like that was dirty.
Yeah.
He swung look at the way he swings his elbow.
Yeah.
He doesn't look at him. It's not like he does like the look at him and be like, oh, he's right there and swings the elbow. You can't play basketball for as much of LeBron's life to not know that in that situation on after a foul shot that the guy's not going to his head is going to be right there. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. The way he swung his elbow, it's like there's intention there. You're trying to keep room for yourself. You made contact though. Like you did, he made contact, and it was like that's why he was apologizing because it's like, oh shit, like I understand that he actually he wants to whoop my ass, and I probably deserve it.
Yeah, honestly,
right? Because if that's not LeBron, if that's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he probably gets his ass beat right there. Well, it wouldn't be Pope because he wouldn't really be in that part of the block. I don't think he owns small forward. But you know what I mean? Like if it's a guy who's the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th guy on the end of the bench.
Like Aaron Baines, for example.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Aaron Baines does that, and a fight starts, and like everyone gets suspended 4 or 5 games. Yeah. But like a fight actually starts, and they just let it happen because it's not LeBron, it's Aaron Baines. So and Isaiah Stewart and Aaron Baines, they'd just be like, both of you do your things.
I didn't see the details besides the fact that besides the fact that they charge this guy like 800 and something thousand. Right?
He got 2 game suspension or 1 game. He got
2
suspended.
games. Okay, how much did LeBron get?
I think he got one
game.
Oh, he's not playing tonight.
That's fair.
He didn't appeal it.
Yeah, because he shouldn't.
No,
because he deserves it.
Yeah. So I need to get your opinion on this, guys.
Yes.
Real quick. Who is the better Raptors backup point guard?
The big question. Yeah.
Delano Banton.
Okay. Now, unfortunately,
we were actually talking about this before you
missed
up.
The whole thing before.
No, go for it. Go for it.
No, okay. So, unfortunately, this to me seems to have affected the Raptors' spacing.
Because he's not a shooter.
Flynn can't get on the floor.
Yes.
Because other than Fred and OG, and I guess Fee as well, who's the best shooters on the team? Who can actually pull out a guy out of the paint?
Fred, Gary Trent.
OG.
Oh, yeah.
Gary. Fred, Gary, OG.
Yeah, you're right.
Fred, Gary, OG. Those are the only 3. Boucher's streaky. When he's hot, you trust Boucher, but he's super streaky. He'll shoot like 37% on a season, but it's because he'll go through a stretch where he shoots 60%, and he'll go through a stretch where he shoots 15%, and he won't stop shooting. Like, he is very much a shoot. He'll just let it go.
Yeah, no, I get that too. It's just like, for me,
the only guys I trust, the only ones I trust are Fred, Gary, and OG. Yes. Pascal's another dude who gets really hot and really cold.
Iffy, last game he shot pretty well.
Yeah.
And what was it? The game
against... exactly. He's the same thing. He'll shoot 37% on the season. You'll be like, that's acceptable. But then he'll go through stretches where he shoots 50%. And he's hitting those, and you know exactly what I'm talking about, where he's feeling it, and he's taking the ball up, and he's hitting those at the very top. It looks like you're playing fucking 2K when you were like 12 at the very beginning, and you're trying to line up with the hoop, and you're hitting it at the very top of the fucking key. Like, he crosses and just shoots it, pull up 3, and then that's when Pascal's shooting like 50%. And then there's other times where he can't hit that corner 3 to save his life.
Yeah, and it kills his game because then people can back off him, and then everything.
Exactly. But and then he can't blow past them.
My biggest issue with this team, besides the inconsistent offense, is the fact that they want to play a certain way. And it feels sometimes that they don't have the guys to play that way.
They're not playing as fast as they want, if they say they want to play.
Yeah, and that's mainly because the defense has just been horrid the last couple of games. But the fact that Malachi hasn't gotten, I get it. As a coach, you're watching these guys all the time. You see them in practice. But the thing is that he has an NBA skill that would be useful in this situation, and he's not getting playing time.
He's a useful second point guard because he has to have the ball in his hand to be useful, and you saw it last year in those stretches where he got like 17, 18 minutes and got to run the second unit. That's when he was the best.
But Fred is really good with the ball out of his hand, so that could be a proper situation. But it's just the fact that having 2 point guards that are 6'2" and shorter.
That's it's 6 foot with Fred, and 6'1".
I've stood next to Fred.
You tower over him.
If he is 6, I am surprised.
Well, he's 6 foot the same way that who else was that? Who's super Kyle Lowry is what? He's listed as 6'2". He ain't 6'2". No, he's 6'1", maybe 6 foot. That's the thing. Fred's probably 5'11", but he's 6 foot in the NBA. Those are the things with some of those guys. But Malachi, that's the thing. He's 6'1". He ain't big.
No,
he's not. And the problem is Gary Trent Jr. isn't a point. We were talking about this. I feel like the conversation they had with him is they're like, listen, we'll play you all the minutes. You can take all the shots you want, all the terrible shots. Don't pass the ball as long as you play really hard on defense. Yeah. I feel like that's the conversation because that is what we're seeing from him. I feel like that's the conversation they've had because Nick Nurse isn't even getting angry that he's jacking up some of the shots that he's jacking up.
No, but like he's pulling off like these like kind of like prime DeRozan level
yeah, but they're for three. But they're for three.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is you can see when he gets those open in rhythm threes that the ones he should be shooting on the regular basis, like how sweet it looks. It's like, oh gee, when you see him in the corner catch it, you're like, oh yeah, that's good. Like that's good. It's like you fine. They have a we were talking about this before. Like I think Malachi basically needs to be in the 905 running, like playing 30 to 40 minutes a night running the point.
Yeah.
If he's not playing with the Raptors that much because you have Banton and you keep giving the minutes essentially that he could get when Fred's banged up, they all go to Goran Dragic. And Goran Dragic was great. And I guess I know he's a leader and all.
No, I just don't agree with that.
He's toast.
That game, the games where Fred wasn't there,
he should have been Malachi.
Yeah, he should have and I don't know what he said to Nurse. Maybe his father's being like a ball father now.
The funny thing is we talked about that is there's been a lot of things of his dad tweeting and it seems like he's unhappy with his minutes and playing time. And I wonder if that's why he's not with the 905 is that he doesn't want to accept the assignment. Like he doesn't want to go down.
Yeah.
He'd rather be in the NBA, even though he'll get more minutes in playing time. Like I almost feel like that's part of the situation.
Yeah, because it's not because before the season started, everyone was like, "Yeah, Banton's gonna go to the 905."
Yeah, we talked about this. Even Delano said in interviews that he's going to the 905. Like he knew what his role was, and then he's essentially just done exactly what the coach has asked him to do, which is play defense, play with pace.
He's the fastest guy on the court.
He's such a freak because he's so long too. It's not only is he tall, he's so lanky. You see it on defense. He gets in passing lanes. He blocks guys who when he comes to help. There's a blow by and he comes to help, and guys just don't expect him to close gaps the way he does. And the way he can, is like. He's like the uber prospect that they used to have back in the day that they could never develop, but now you're looking at the Raptors and you're like, yeah, I think you could actually they're going to turn him into something
because he has West End confidence.
I love the fact we talked about this. I'm so incredibly happy that he's from here and it's working out and it's this cool.
Yeah.
So I need to get me a Delano jersey.
Oh,
from Rexdale, where we all went to fucking college.
Our favorite city in the world.
That was an interesting 2 years.
Andrew, Steve made a very bold proclamation earlier.
Yes.
I want to hear your thoughts on it. He said that Luka is better than Giannis. I want to hear your take.
He has more skill than Giannis.
Oh my god.
He does.
Giannis is the most physically gifted player.
That's part of being the
No. But Giannis is the most physically gifted player I've ever seen. I don't know if I've ever seen someone the only person I've seen that plays basketball like Luka is like LeBron, except I think Luka is going to be a better shooter. I think Luka has a legitimate chance to be like a great shooter. And the combination, okay, Andrew, this is basically what I told to them.
Yeah.
I love Giannis. I really love Giannis. But the fact that Luka can, at his size, not Giannis' 7 foot mound of muscle, also the fastest, he's a freak. There's a reason that's his nickname. But the fact that Luka can get you like a 20-plus rebound game, 17 assists, and score 50 easily because he can also shoot the lights out some games and just hit that step back and he's unstoppable. The fact that he can do that, I think that's harder to stop than Giannis because you can see what teams did to Giannis in the playoffs. And you can see what happened when KD by himself could almost outscore that entire Bucks team. Whereas I feel like Luka, if he had help, you could see Luka shoot, not right now, but I think he could be the type of player that could go shot to shot with a score like Durant, whereas like Giannis has other things that have to go right for him to score like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I like, again, he is more skilled than Giannis. Giannis has other physical tools that I still think make him, in my opinion, the better player right now. That being said, Luka is more scalable than Giannis.
Yeah.
Much more. Like, you can't, if you take both of those guys off of their team and put them on any team in the NBA, Giannis would not be great on every single team. You put Luka on any one of those teams.
Exactly.
I think Giannis would figure it out.
Put Luka on the Kings. Put Luka on the Kings, and that's a playoff team.
He should be on the Kings.
Because honestly, no. Look at the Mavericks roster. The Mavericks roster is not good. I think Luka could take the Kings to the playoffs because he's done it with that terrible Mavs roster. Whereas I think if you put Giannis on the Kings, there's not enough shooting around Giannis, and there'd be real problems.
You don't think you take him to the playoffs?
No, because there's not enough shooting. I don't think there's not enough shooting around him.
They do it. Giannis
on which team?
On
the Kings. He has Buddy Hield and what else that can shoot?
Yeah, you're right.
Marvin Bagley?
No,
think about like I love Fox, but Fox needs the ball more, and he's not going to shoot. Like it's not like Chris Middleton, right?
Yeah, the issue with Giannis is that if you're able to send 3 guys at him and make the wall,
you
can deal with him.
Yeah.
Although he is shooting a lot more this season.
Well, that's the thing. If Giannis, I've always said this, if Giannis ever learned how to shoot properly, he's completely unstoppable.
Yeah, it's
like if he can actually shoot, because he doesn't have to because of the way he is physically. But if you have to actually respect it, if you can't just like wave him off and be like, if you shoot 35% from 3, that's fine, because it's better that you take all the threes and don't just continue to dunk over us. If Giannis ever learned how to shoot properly, he's unstoppable. You cannot stop him. He's 7 feet tall. He's unstoppable.
He's
Kevin Durant. He's Kevin Durant, just physically bigger. If he learns how to shoot.
I mean, he had like 50 points in a finals game, man. That's pretty impossible.
Yeah, but well, again, this is the thing about why he's physically ridiculous. Look what he did to Ayton. Look what he did to him.
Yeah, a guy who is supposedly good.
He's bigger than him.
Yeah,
like Ayton might weigh more. Giannis has way more muscle. Like Giannis is way stronger. Like there are few people in the league as strong as Giannis.
Exactly. So like you put him on the Kings, that would still be an issue.
You know what you would see him on the Kings? He'd win MVP. He'd score 30 plus a night. He'd have like 20 rebounds, but he'd have like 3 assists because he would they try to run an offense, and it would be all Giannis trying to do it by himself. With the 3 assists would be the occasional passes to Buddy Hield in a corner or some shit.
Yeah. And they'd make the playoffs.
No.
They'd be like...
They wouldn't get a 10 seed, Steve.
Oh, God. Okay, that 10... Okay, maybe that's stupid 10 seed.
I think it'd be top 8. I could see that.
Okay, I like the playing games. Do you guys not like it?
Oh, it's fine.
That's our chances here.
No, I'm completely fine with it. I have no problem with it.
Yeah,
the NBA does shit like that all the time. Like they got rid of divisions. Divisions don't matter, but they exist. You know, that's the way this league operates. It's nothing sacred, so it's cool when they do stuff like this because it's like they're willing to do fun stuff.
Yeah, it's not like baseball where you have hundreds of years of tradition and people are very scared to do anything.
Exactly. Like, were the playing games awesome last year? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we want to see it again? Yes.
Imagine Raptors, Celtics playing game. Like, how great would that be?
That'd be wild.
Give the team that's not going to win a title a chance to have that title feel. Like,
it's also good for TV ratings. It's good for attendance. It's good. Like that's why it's not going away.
Well,
it's also extra games. So
last year, like you had Curry and LeBron. Like that was never going to happen.
That was a great game.
That was oh god, that was Last year was pretty like the way that it worked out was pretty fucking amazing.
You might get LeBron there again this year.
If Curry had a Jordan,
might get LeBron in that game again this year, though.
You might, I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if Clay is 85% of Clay when he comes back, that team is going to be hilarious.
Well, they already are. They're already.
Does Clay need to start?
By the time the playoffs start, that's really it. He needs to be able to start by the time the playoffs start. You can have all the minutes restrictions you want all through the season, but by the time the playoffs start, you need to be able to just let him go. And they keep saying he's going to be back soon. So Christmas is when they kept saying he'd be there, and he kept saying he'd be there before Christmas. But He might be there a few games before Christmas.
The Raptors said Watanabe was supposed to come back before Siakam.
Yeah, his calf. Yeah, Siakam came back super early. Siakam was supposed to be December.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And yeah, Yuta's calf was supposed to be a couple weeks. And then again, Boucher fucked his finger up, and that was supposed to be multiple weeks. And it was like 2.
He comes back from injuries quick.
Because Boucher doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. Like,
have you seen those hilariously bad Mary Brown's commercials?
I love all those commercials.
I love it.
It's the poutine. It's definitely the poutine. That's why he comes back.
He puts no effort in them at all.
That's the best part about it. That is the best part about it. It's so hilarious. He's so deadpan. They are great because they're not great, bad. But they're amazing. Yeah. Exactly. They're amazing because of how bad they are.
What about the OG one? The OG and I think Boucher's in that one too, right? The TikTok one.
Oh, I saw that one for the first time yesterday.
I haven't seen the TikTok one.
It's like OG's like talking about a TikTok he saw, and he's getting all into it. Like,
oh man, OG.
I've never seen OG talk that much since the scarf video.
OG doing I do art. That was amazing. Well, and then there's a new one too where it was like with Gary Trent Jr. and Gary Trent's trying to be modest, and OG's like, no, I'm the best style on the team, the best shoes, the best. He literally goes through like every piece of clothing, best socks, like the way that OG would. He does it again. But him doing the OVO owl that looks like Dengar is one of the greatest moments ever. I'm sorry, and the fact that they turned that into T-shirts immediately, like I need to buy one of those T-shirts.
Yeah, I think the peanut butter commercials had a downgrade.
Yeah,
with Gary and Scotty, it's not the same as
the
Brad and Siakam one. Was much
it's better. Not. Nah, it ain't right.
Yeah.
But before we go on to continue critiquing commercials, is there anything else we wanted to get to, Raptors wise, or just podcast wise, before we wrap it up?
We got everything in.
I think we covered everything possible.
I was trying to hope that Steven Matz was going to sign during.
Yeah, just stretching it long on the Raptors. In case Steven Matz signed, and then we just go hard into baseball. But no.
He's going to sign as soon as we stop.
Yeah. Oh, just one last thing, just because we talked about it. I talked about it before. Andrew mentioned it. Yes, I've never seen anyone like Precious miss so many alley-oops, bunnies, taps, lobs. Just like, again, his inability to catch and just put it in the hoop. Like I was telling these guys earlier in the podcast, he's the Raptor because you can see all the flashes of potential. You can see that there's something in there, and you trust that this team is going to bring it out. It's the same thing with Scotty. I was like, I want Jalen Suggs, but I want Evan Mobley, but that was never going to happen. So it was like, I want Jalen Suggs, but I trust Masai. And then you saw Scotty, and you were immediately like, yes.
Yeah, it's not like Baines where you just feel hopeless, where you're just like, this is not going to work. And
well,
there's something there that.
Achua is 22. He's got so much potential. Where Aaron Baines, you're like, what is this? I was promised so much better. I watched better than this in Boston. Why is he this bad? He was good in Boston.
Aaron Baines killed us in Boston.
Exactly. And he was so bad. Like watching him take that 3 that he was always going to miss. Always gonna miss.
Raptors every game.
Oh, dude,
kick out to him, break a 3.
I was about to say it's like 18 seconds left in the shot clock, and they flip it to Aaron Baines. No one's guarding him, so you're like, okay, please chuck it to the next guy who's standing beside you, and he just fires that wide open 3. It's like you're wide open for a reason.
Yeah. No.
Did Raptors Twitter end his parody account?
No, because that parody account, I guess you can't kill it. Like he admitted all, like he did talk about all the hate and that how you weren't going to get rid of him, but
I've never seen it. Like you just get so much shit every night. It was so funny.
It was so bad. Yeah. So bad.
I would like to say before this is done, Raptors need a 7-footer. I don't care who we have to pick up, even if because like Rudy Gobert is not a great offensive player. He's not, and
no,
he's able to just go take it and just put it over people. And Ken Birch is the best guy we have, and he's like 4 inches shorter than him.
Did you see Scotty body Nurkic?
Yeah.
Like
Nurkic couldn't do anything.
Well, my argument with the fact that the reason why I don't think that they think that they need a 7-footer is because if you have a skinny 7-footer, you can put Boucher on him because he's so long.
Yeah.
You can put a skinny and then if you have a bigger dude, the issue is going to be Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
That's the real issue. Like that's the guy that you're going to have a problem with. But every other center, I think that they look at OG and they look at Scotty and they're like, we feel pretty comfortable. You'll body dudes who are substantially bigger than you.
Yeah, and I think a guy like Jokic, you can get at him like mentally, because like I've seen OG do it to him last time. So,
well, Jokic will fight you, and so will his
yeah,
insane Serbian brothers. Did you see the tweet where his brothers were
was,
going at the Morris twins?
yeah, that was funny. The only person they followed was our Canadian boy there. It was hilarious.
Jamal Murray. That's amazing. Jokic's brothers are insane, and the stories last year were like they were something out of like a movie where Jokic was like, "Oh yeah, I remember they're a little intense. I remember them throwing knives at me." Yes, that you remember that story. Yeah. The oldest brother, the one that's the biggest looking lunatic, like the one that looks like something out of like a European soccer hooliganism fucking documentary with like the tattoos up to his neck and down on his like all over his body, but he's also 6'8".
Yeah. Just an absolute menace.
Those dudes are insane. They are insane.
Like that, we were talking about guys you don't want to fuck with in the NBA. They're up there. We were just talking about the LeBron thing. Like, there's a few guys in this league that are like really about it.
Well, like LeBron will end your career. The Jokic brothers will end your life.
Yeah.
By the way, I think that's how that goes.
But speaking of, we were talking Blue Jays. Gossman, we're interested. One of the 4 teams interested.
I was telling you guys about this. He's actually who I want over Robbie Ray if they could get him somehow because he's amazing.
We're interested.
Yeah, I'm starting to think we'll get one of them.
Yeah. But anyways, anything else? You said so 7-footer. Was that really all that you think?
7-footer, and decide on which point guard goes to the 905.
Yeah, because and just cut the Dragic thing. Like, unless the Mavs are going to give you the 2nd-round pick you want, you're going to have to buy him out.
So, to my understanding, based upon like what I've been listening to, they're not going to do it until the what do you call it? The trade deadline?
Oh, yeah, the roster bonus when all that shit when guys get waived all the time.
Yeah.
They'll wait. Yeah, I think there's a provision in the CBA that changes how the salaries get stretched. It's a cap thing. It's something that I understand that there's a reason for it. I just like there's a whole bunch of cap shit that I would have to understand exactly why they do it. But yeah, that's generally when they do it. They wait. If you don't get bought out like immediately, they get bought out in that buyout period after the trade deadline. So, but yeah, they need to just kind of give up. Just make him the assistant coach. Yeah, Tony.
I was gonna say every Tuesday, Andrew. Are you gonna be free on Tuesdays?
I wait. Yeah, no, Tuesdays are my days off.
The days are gonna shift around, and we're also talking about doing like live during games, live watches. And,
we'll do end up at Theo's house with this hilarious TV setup, watching games as a crew.
Andrew hasn't seen my TV setup yet.
Oh,
he's the only one.
To me. I saw it.
Oh yeah, probably. I show it off a lot. But I think what we can do is, even if we're all on here, all of us can watch the game, and I can put like the game cast from the website on my screen, and then it'll just be showing on here as we'll watch the game on our own.
And then we'll immediately get
no, people do it. I've checked in on it, and that's what they don't show the game. They show like the score. You know how the score.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you can show that. I thought you meant you were going to show the game. I was like, you can't show the game. Okay, yeah. No, exactly.
We have to like sync up because Andrew watches games like 15 minutes behind everyone. So
that was also why I said we'll just do it. No, that was why I said we would do it all together, because that's the only way it would make sense, because we all have to be together to react. Because if part of recording it is getting the reaction and syncing it, like we have to all be the same room.
We used to do this with Andrew like offline, and me and Anthony would watch a game and we'd see it like 2 minutes later, and then we'd hear him react and we'd predict how.
Okay, all right, yeah, no, but that was because I was watching it with my family, and they keep wanting me to go back and go at the other play that was happening beforehand.
Oh, like watching some like random website.
No, what?
Theo out here talking about piracy.
I thought you were like pirating the game. That's why it was like that.
No, because I was watching with other people.
So you just had to rewind it every time.
Every 2 seconds. Your family was
like, "We got to see that dunk again."
They'll be like, "Andrew, I don't understand what happened there," and I'm having to explain it to them and rewind and tell them again.
Do you have like the whiteboard where you write like the plays?
The coach's setup.
It was honestly crazy because like my family's been watching basketball as long as I've been like 3 years old. Okay, and so
how long were you 3 years old?
How long ago?
Like 24 years ago. Anyway,
quick math.
So they wanted me to explain to them what it means to be able to. We have a foul to give. And it feels like I have to explain that every week. Every 2 weeks, I'm just like, yeah, they had a foul to give. What does that mean?
Foul left before the bonus. I can understand though if you like, you can watch and understand basketball and play basketball, and like it's an organized basketball thing. You know what I mean? It's an NBA. It's like an NBA thing. It's an organized basketball thing. It's not even like it's not a gym run MCA thing. That's the problem with shit like that. you can know the game and then be like, what?
But you think after the 8th time that you've asked the question,
I was trying to give them plausible deniability. I was trying to give them plausible deniability.
It was 8 times in 23 years, though. That's not that bad.
It's the 8th time in the 8th week of the season. I don't know.
Oh.
Like, so,
man.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap this up because we went kind of long. But it was like the intro of these live Tuesday, the Toronto on Tilt. It just does talking about Toronto sports and various sports on Tuesdays. So, all right, I guess we'll wrap this up. So I've been Steve Artabello with Theo Giordano, Anthony Harris, and our special guest Andrew Clark with a C. Although it was Andrew with an E, I think, when we did it, which was hilarious. Which is a very long inside joke that very few people are going to get, and the few people that do get it are going to laugh pretty hard. But anyways, you can find us at our website, Toronto on Tilt. You can find us on Twitter at Toronto on Tilt. You can find us now on Twitch, Toronto on Tilt. You can find us at our YouTube, where this video will be posted. It's live right now, but the video will be there so that you can watch it, Toronto on Tilt. And audio will be streaming anywhere that you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor Breaker, Bleacher, all of the things. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends. And we'll be back next week. We do this live, but you can watch whenever you want. And hopefully the Raptors finally get healthy and start coming together. Hopefully the Blue Jays sign someone, and I don't know, the Leafs just are going to bring pain. No matter, even if they win, they bring pain. Pain.